How unprofessional of me. Good evening, everybody. You know something? I'll be honest. I was trying to multitask. I was just looking at something on X as it is now. Good evening, everybody in the chat. Michael, Mark, BB, DC, Keith. Hope I've not forgot anyone. Stevie. Yeah, Mark. Yeah, right. So the floor is opened up tonight to absolutely anything. Let's start, Stan, with City tearing Cockneys apart, mate, over at the Swamp now. And by the way, that is why Anne-Marie isn't with us tonight, because fair play to her. She's gone to Old Trafford. However, she's been arrested again.
Yeah.
Streaking across Old Trafford, knee sliding at the Stretford end.
Yeah, I was going to open up tonight with a plea to Greater Manchester Police. Could you please release the Stretford one? And Marine's on her own, and she's hungry. Let her out. Let her out. It's cold, it's wet, it's raining, and she's got to get home and get her tea.
Yeah. Good evening, Chad, Peter, Pardo, mate, Alec. Good evening, everybody. Simon. Good evening, pal. Yeah, so great performance from the women. It's pointless us talking about women's football to you, Paddy, because you've already said you hate it. So we'll exclude you from that one.
Absolutely.
So Stan, great performance. What I was annoyed about was they kept going on about that ball going out. It should have been a corner. The ball was clearly out. Yeah, it should have been a corner. But it wouldn't have been in that position if she'd have crossed the ball to make it 2-0 anyway. So it's all.
But I can see where they're coming from. The whole problem rests on the fact that it was only 4 minutes later that City scored.
Yep.
At 4 minutes, you can score 2 in 4 minutes. Just laughing at what Beyond Belief's put there, typical Amber. It is.
Yeah,
it is. We do well to look after her on a Sunday. Otherwise, she'd be tearing the place apart.
I was going to say, should we expose her then? But I didn't mean it like that.
Yeah. No, I mean in 4 minutes injury time, you can win a title on the back of it, can't you?
Absolutely.
So I'm not really having it that the game swung on the back of that. But then again, there was no yellow card for the free kick that come a little bit later, where she took 3 days to take it. Bearing in mind, one yellow card led to another, and Alex Green was getting sent off on the first game of the season. And also, what's all this waving the little imaginary yellow cards around? I thought they were yellow cards now as well. So we'll gloss all over that and just concentrate on how City took them apart. Fantastic. From the minute the whistle blew to start the game till they realised that United had run out of ideas, they'd run out of class, they'd run out of everything, and thought we better get City down to 10. And hope something might happen and they might be able to awaken the crowd, who, by the way, did nothing.
So, great result for City women. Let's get into FFP and what's happened this week to start. No, because listen, it's a hot topic at the minute. Considering no one cares about City, the world and his wife. Wants to talk about City. Now, I broke Twitter a little bit yesterday for any of you who follow me over just a little off the cuff remark what I made, and it's absolutely gone bonkers. I basically said, in fact, I'll read it, and interesting to hear that everybody in the chat with this one. So this is basically what I put. Why FFP is wrong. If I had a corner shop on a street and I won the lottery, I can't clear my debts and then spend my money on modernising my shop because it's not fair on Joe Bloggs at the other end of the street because he can't afford it and says it's unfair. However, years ago, Joe Bloggs, I think we know who Joe Bloggs is, and it hit a few nerves. However, Joe Bloggs used to spend money on all the latest stuff before my lottery win. and didn't care that I was struggling. But now Joe Bloggs' shop has a leaky roof and he's in £1 billion debt. He says it's unfair on everyone else, and I need punishing for my business being very successful. Joe Bloggs and his cartel friends are all in the same boat now, though. So they are colluding with each other and putting pressure on the authorities to punish me for running my business impeccably. I broke the internet with that because every man and his dog was jumping on it. But what was interesting, I don't normally read likes and stuff like that because I'm not vain or anything like that. However, I was interested to see that the kind of fans, what was actually liking it. Arsenal fans liking it, obviously Newcastle fans, Everton fans were liking it, even some United fans were liking it and agreeing with it. Now, FFP, it gets my goat, to say the least. Now, I think I'll say straight away, what they've done to Everton is diabolical, because Everton, what was it, something like
25 million.
Not even £20 million over, considering it was during the COVID times when people were struggling, la-di-da-di-da. I just think it's wrong. Although Everton was one of the clubs what did go against us initially, so I'm not going to go on about karma or anything like that, because I think the whole affair is absolutely disgusting. Has anybody got any other thoughts on that?
I think we're in trouble.
Yeah, you know this meeting that they had in the cartel and they're all in the same boat?
Yep.
Was the meeting at Leaky Roof Guy's business?
It's just a farce. It just seems like, isn't it? And again, I'm interested to know this. Not just you two, however, everybody in the chat, because they're more important than you two. No offense. Do you think they're going to come after City or what? Or do you think they just sort of like flexing the muscles with Everton? This talk of clubs now, Leicester, Leeds, and Burnley, going after Everton and suing them
for 100 million each.
To be honest with you, if I was Leicester, I'd widen my neck in. They won that league and they shouldn't have been in the league. They failed FFP themselves and admitted it and paid up, as a compromise. So they can get in the bid. Not interested in. One thing about this Everton is that if they've been caught cheating, with the controversies going over with VAR at the moment, that Rodri handball is irrelevant now, isn't it? The game shouldn't have been played. And that happened before Rodri's handball. So we would have had a 3-0 win. A statutory 3-0 win. Better goal difference and better points. So, stick that one in your pack, Mr. Klopp.
They weren't caught cheating, Stan. They just overspent. Like they weren't caught cheating, not like.
No, I'm messing around there, Paddy. Do you know what I mean? That at the end of the day, if Liverpool are insistent that Everton were guilty, then of course that happened before that handball. So we'd have to go back to the start. The game doesn't get played because Everton have been cheating, blah, 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 blah. I'm just tying in that VAR nonsense with everything else that's going on at football at the moment, where black is white, up is down, and in is out.
You know something? I put this with no grey areas. It's either black or white for me. There's no way our owners and all the legal team or anything like that would do anything dodgy, knowing that there's a chance that we would get severely punished in means of relegation, points deduction, transfer embargoes and stuff like that. There's no way on this earth they'd undo all the work what they've done. They took UEFA to the cleaners. We got.
And you have to be careful around that because we got away with a lot of stuff with UEFA because it was time barred. These 115 charges are not time barred.
Do you know what though, Paddy? Don't believe the hype. That UEFA rule about being time barred has come from them. City themselves have said they would have preferred that time bar not to have been there, so that this information could have been discussed, cleared up. This is one of the problems that everybody's hiding under that. When CAS looked at what they could look at, they were squeaky clean. They were just fined 10 million for not cooperating. And nobody would cooperate when they find out that the copper who arrests you is the judge and the guy who sets the sentence, which is what UEFA were. And I wouldn't cooperate with anybody doing that, would you? You wouldn't, Paddy. I know you well enough to know that. You know, you can't be judge, jury, and executioner, and that's what UEFA wanted to be. Yep. When somebody came along and went, right, well, what are they talking about? Why are you not helping them? He said, well, here's all the info you want. They went through it and they went, well, look at this here. He's, he's the sole owner. He's the sole owner. There's no grounds for this. There's no grounds for that. There's no grounds for the other. Basically, it was cut and paste emails that were stolen in the first place. They're now going to court. Well, they're going to that arbitration Premier League because United, Arsenal mainly, and Liverpool have pushed them into it and said, you're going to have to get this sorted out. It's going to have to become clean. They're not that bothered what will go on, but they've got a huge problem in so much that when it comes out what had gone on, there's nothing there. 4 years it's took them to find this. You would have thought it'd have been done and dusted in 10 weeks if it was that clear and it was that obvious and they had done it. It would have been done and dusted by now. No doubt about it. It's not. There's nothing there. There's no smoking gun anywhere.
Part of Oaks is there. Pep did warn other clubs to be careful what they wish for. And you know something? I'm more than... Am I probably one of the only few City fans? I'm not even worried about it. I'm laughing it off because I'm not confident that we'll be all right. That's not blasé. That's just I've got confidence in what I've said about there's no way the powers that be at City would run the risk of this because and let's not forget they've since they're going back they've changed the Premier League have changed the rules and stuff like that. They're trying to charge us with old rules what they've changed now and stuff like that. It's a big nonsense. And are you confident, Stan, that it's just going to be a...
Yeah, it's just a complete not a waste of time. It's just a box ticking exercise by like I say, United, Liverpool, and Arsenal to try and get us. Going back to your analogy about the guys in the business.
Yeah.
The only thing that would have picked up you on that is that they've all got this business and they've been successful, and now instead of putting the money back into the business to keep it growing, they decided to take a dividend, and that dividend is dipping into their business and into their profit, and they don't want to spend that profit on themselves anymore. Whereas you are with your money, you're putting all that money back into it. You're expanding the stadium, you're expanding you're building a new indoor arena. You've now got academy players going for 30 million. Who, by the way, one of them's gone to Chelsea, and there's somebody I saw it on Twitter yesterday that is this the greatest 21-year-old who's ever played in the Premier League? What? Is that what's going on? That undoubtedly he's a great player. Nobody's going to argue with that, but he ain't going to get in City's team now, and that's why Cole wanted to go. And fair enough. Nobody, right. It's his career.
So, Stan, Ian's put there, Premier League have opened a can of worms. Before I ask you your concerns, Paddy, I agree with Ian. That's the confidence in me. I think they have opened a can of worms. They've opened this can, trying to flex the muscles because they don't want to be, they don't want an independent governing body coming in for stuff like this. The Premier League have pretty much gone, we'll deal with whatever. However, they've opened that can and they've gone, oh shit. We should have put more thought into this before we start throwing 115. And it's not 115 charges. It's a multitude of different charges within different brackets. Things like the grass was too long and stuff like that. I'd like to know what they've been smoking, to be fair. But go on, Paddy. What's your concerns on it? Because I'm really curious.
I'll tell you where I'm at with, right? The Khaldun's interview, right, at the end after the season, the end of the season review, when he turned around and says he can't wait for this to be dealt with, and then he's going to give a very, very abrupt interview. So obviously, we have stuff on all our teams, and other things that have gone on, because obviously we've done our own investigations in the other teams and have dirt on them. But I get what you're saying, Andy, about we're squeaky clean and all this crack. That's fine if you're going to get a fair crack of the whip.
I'm not saying we're squeaky clean. What I'm saying is you have to bend the rules, but if we have bent the rules, it's because the loopholes have been there. Now, look what happened with Chelsea only last season. They just bent the rules. They didn't break the law by putting players on 7 and 8 year contracts and stuff like that. They was clever. They saw a loophole. What was there with the Premier League, and because Chelsea used that, the Premier League can't turn around to Chelsea now and go, "Oh no, you can't do that." Hang on, the loophole's already there. If the loophole's now closed, so they couldn't charge Chelsea for the loophole what they delved into, because, and I can see so many scenarios like this, what the Premier League are trying to do to us, where we've gone, we've only done this because that loophole was open. This one, listen, all we've done, the only thing we're guilty of, in my opinion, is fast tracking players in 2008 onwards to come in to get us where we are now. Now, listen, if that's the only thing we're guilty of, happy days.
Yeah, but see, evidence and proving it are two different things when it comes to us. I think they will. I know our case won't be up until next year because I think it's near on 100,000 documents at this stage involved in it, going back over the years. But they can do to us what they have to do to everything, right? And then we can appeal it, but we could be appealing it from the first, second, and third division. That's not much use. If any City fan thinks that we're going to get a fair crack of the whip and they're not out to kind of make pumped up charges against us and make them stick, it's going to happen. You can be sure it's going to happen. But it's what we do afterwards is going to be the problem for the Premier League. But at that stage, the Premier League will have damage done to us wherever we are in the Premier League or the first division or second division. You can appeal it all you want, or it's like working, say, work your rule at work, you know. Like what they did to Everton is shocking in terms of, because they didn't cheat, they just overspent. And then Chelsea, they go and report themselves. They did cheat. So what are they going to get? Again,
a loophole. So I'm not slaughtering Chelsea for that. I'm saying you found a loophole. Fair enough.
No,
let's play the previous. So they're nice and clean.
Not to say year contracts. The finances when Abramovich was there, and the deals, the 100 million putting in these fake sponsorship deals and players and all this kind of carry on. They reported themselves for cheating.
Do you want to know what's interesting with that one, though? Chelsea can now turn around to the Premier League saying, hang on, you know, when the Premier League and the authorities sort of like vet new owners coming in, they can turn around to the Premier League and say, well, we've actually flagged this up to you. You didn't actually see that when our new owners was potentially coming in. So if you didn't spot it, that there was discrepancies, that falls on the Premier League, not Chelsea.
Yeah, but they're still going to get hammered for it.
I can see only Chelsea having a transfer embargo for a season. The reason why I say that, they've stockpiled players, and they've done that for a reason. They've bought loads of players because they've gone through a hell of a lot of players, expecting to get a transfer embargo. Do you agree with that, Stan? Or
I think the thing is, it probably comes down to how you define what a loophole is. A loophole is as far as I can say, a loophole is a rule that you can interpret in different ways. I honestly think what City did is there were no rules.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't exploit a loophole. There was just no rule there whatsoever. And one or two people have seen what they've done. And Soriano wrote about this when he was at Barcelona, And he was calling it the Disneyfication of football, whereby you can go around the world and get in one super group of organised teams. Now, at the time, they had a fallout in Barcelona and it never got off the ground. It's now got off the ground, and City are doing it. So we've got clubs all around the world. You know, we can take lads in Uruguay and have a look and see if they're good enough, move them around, do all stuff like that. That's never been done before. And because that had never been done before in this country, there was no rules, because nobody had thought that anyone would come in and do that. Now, even in Girona, they're starting to wet themselves already, the press, that, City might not be able to play if it's Girona get qualified. What they don't realise is City aren't the majority owner of Girona. You're going to love this. Pep's brother is, but he's not in part of the team. He's not part of City Group. So there's no story there. But it's like Alec Johnson said earlier about, you know, if they're not saying one thing, they'll start saying another. But we've had that right from the beginning. We'll never win anything because we only sign mercenaries. With that amount of money that you're spending, you should have won everything. And it'll just go on and on. Haaland's not as good as Nunes because he only scores tap-ins. No matter how ridiculous it'll be, they will just turn around and say, oh, well, this, oh, well, that. And whether we like it or not, that's what we used to do at United, innit? We could never argue with them about what we did on the pitch because we were bloody awful. But then we started noticing, if you said a few things about stuff that had gone on off the pitch, it can't half wind them up, such as Cockneys, tearing Cockneys apart. Yeah. Fergie time. All the little bits and bobs that you can have a pop at.
And let's not
talking to us about winding us up. We're the masters of it. We were doing it to them 20 years ago, 30 years ago.
There was allegations of Fergie getting a 30k Rolex watch as well for sorting a game out and stuff like that. And because they are one of the cartel clubs, you know, the blue-eyed boys, as it were, it seems like there's friends in high places and stuff like that, where there's going to be certain clubs what get over there, where little, you know, sort of like the world's smallest big club like us, you know, we're always going to be tarnished with the cheat thing. You know, we have to accept that, because when we get proved innocent,
it won't matter. We paid them off.
We would have paid them off, or you were still cheats, or blah blah. So no, has that sort of shined off anything we've won? Absolutely, no, absolutely not. Because no,
I tell you what. Do you want to talk about things that are a little bit morally dubious, very suspect?
Talk about anything you want.
About a manager whose son was the manager of another club, and he lent this club 3 players.
Preston
and when this club sacked the son, the 3 players were immediately called back to the parent club.
Preston
now, you're messing around with three players' career. You then try to tell a club, you can't do what we want. You can't do what you want to do, because if you do, we will put pressure on you.
Mm-hmm.
And we did, and they carried it out, and they did. Might only be a small thing in the grand scheme of life, but once you start getting away with the small things, you start getting away with the bigger things.
Absolutely.
And that's gone on for years and years and years and years and years. I saw something today about you know, when you get criticised, Pep Guardiola criticised. He's never took a small club.
Yeah, I've seen all that.
It's absolute garbage. But then they saw something about Liverpool, and they were going on about Bob Paisley about being a fire manager. And we'll all nod our heads in agreement till he suddenly realised he was a Liverpool manager for 5 years. Now, if he was living in the modern era, he'd have got slated because he's never managed a small club. He's never done this. He's never done that. You know, he doesn't know what it's like to take York from Division 2 up to Division 1.
York?
I'm just saying this, you know, a particular club that he didn't do anything. He went to a club at the very top, won a few, he won his bits and bobs, and then shut off again. Bloody hell.
Right. Paddy.
And on top of that, he did an 85-year apprenticeship in the boot room, having got no.
Right. You know. Alex put here, Paddy, City are adamant they have followed rules, Hope we sue them for defamation of character. I'm absolutely bang on there with Alec because Khaldoon, mate. Khaldoon was like, don't need. He was basically going, I don't need to comment at this moment, but if and when I have to comment, get ready for them fireworks because we've got enough in our armory to blow a lot of clubs apart as well as your organisation apart. I'm a being too naive here, just with my relaxed view on it.
No, you're not. Don't think, as I say, and I'm repeating myself now.
You doing what, mate?
It's a nice try. Just get up a bit earlier in the morning for that. But like, Khaldoon obviously has information, right? Because he has threatened for an explosive interview once this is all done and dusted. So he has stuff, you know. Like, we're not going to bring a knife to a gunfight. We're like, the club we have, or the owners we have, the structure that's there, like, they're top notch, you know. Like we definitely have information on all the clubs. Even Liverpool hacked our scouting system and they got away with it. They could find £1 million.
Mm-hmm.
You know, is that not cheating?
No. Thank you, Martin, for 4 months as a member.
And then there was a manager then wouldn't speak to BBC for years because he supposed his son is a cheat.
I don't know. I don't know whether I'm just naive in thinking.
Is that the other son, the Bent agent?
Yeah.
Oh, and then didn't somebody have the brother as the chief scout? Not done bad, that family, have they, in the world of football?
I bet you some of the people who used to be connected to the Premier League. So when the Premier League are flexing the muscles, now they're going, oh, please don't, because the ramifications for some of these ex-Premier League boyos could be massively exposed. And let's not forget, with the Rags as well, they're facing charge. Have they been charged, or are they going to be charged or something? So
UEFA charged them and found them guilty, didn't they?
For financial fair play.
Mm. So there's going to. I just love Pep's. I know it was a while ago when we first got charged for these 115 charges. The way Pep was just like, it took it. No, I'm going nowhere. There's just listen, everybody in the chat. Are you worried? Do you think we've got reason to be concerned, or are you like me, just like?
And that interview at that time when Pep says people in glass houses shouldn't throw stones when he's referring to Barcelona, what happened to him shortly after that?
I think what Beyond Belief said there, if you just flick it back a couple, Andy, I think that's it. That charge on the grass is due to a discrepancy in the rule book being assumed and mixed up. They thought the same rules were in the same, Rule 12 was Rule 12 throughout the different years, and it didn't. It moved, meaning that there was no charge over grasslands for City. I think you're out there beyond belief. However, what it does show is they couldn't even get that right. They just lazily went through it and said, all right, well, Rule 1 in 2009 is the same as Rule 1 in 2018, and it wasn't. Well, that again came down to the fact that after 4 years of finding nothing and looking around and carrying on with themselves, all this came out within hours or a couple of days of the government saying that we don't think you're fit to run it. So they went, bloody hell, get that out. And I think this is now where some of that backtracking will be going on, thinking,
and
we're going to have to go to court and defend this.
Monumental mess up in that regard.
By the way, I've had these on sale. I've had these on sale for a while.
I tell you what, there'll be some fireworks with those charges.
I think when that threat of the independent regulator was coming in, and it was only City actually who voted for that, the other 19 clubs didn't. I think they acted in haste and they charged us with 115 charges, and then they've gone to town now on Everton. But I think like that can of worms, as you say, Andy, is opened and it's not getting closed. You can't put that genie back in the bottle once you open it. And I seriously think that no matter what happens to us, Caldoon has information, big time.
And Blue Art there. The Premier League have shown a great deal of incompetence and unprofessionalism in the way they've charged City. Even the club has noticed that. I think all the repeat charges indicate that too. I think the Premier League are at this now. We should have just gone over every one of these before we started charging them, because
exactly
nothing. I think we will get a fine, but I think that's because we're not going, there's our books, which we're not obliged.
Why should we give books to Man United or Liverpool or Arsenal or anybody else wants it? What business does that?
Mm-hmm. No business.
But it
comes down to that as well. We're getting charged of not cooperating. And what that actually means is when the Premier League say, "Oh, give us your books," and then we say, "What books?" and then it takes them 3 weeks to figure out what they can actually do and what they can't do. That goes down as us being awkward and non-cooperative. Then they'll come back and ask for something, and then they'll say, "Right, well, when you say that, what exactly are you saying? Because when you came 3 weeks ago, you were asking this, this, and this. Now you're asking something slightly different. Can you just explain to us what it was?" Then they have to go away, and then they come back, and then it's their own incompetence that's doing it. And City, like you say, quite rightly, aren't just going to give him a load of books where you've clearly got unbelievably successful formulas for running a club hidden away in there. Why should you give that away to your competitors?
Yeah. The Premier League is the 19 other teams.
Yeah.
It's not the FA. The Premier League is the 19 other clubs in that Premiership.
Mm.
And we're supposed to hand our books over to them.
Exactly. Again, going back to your analogy, Andy, if you had a little business and you realised, because you sat down and read the terms and conditions on the land rent of your business, and you realised you could get 20% back if you filled out some form that nobody really talked about and nobody was bothered about, and then you're going to expect to hand over it, and then the others go, "Oh, I didn't know about that. Let us do that 20%. Do you know what I mean? I'm keeping it simple, but there'll be things in there that you're like, "Well, no, I'm not showing you that. That's key and it's critical to our business, and it is operating within the law. So you've got no right to see it."
I get the feeling if it's sort of like faded away a little bit from the Premier League, City will go, no. Come at us. Yeah. I think City do want to fight, but they're just being quiet about it. And because we're being quiet, everyone's got. People are saying, again, the majority of rival fans are saying, "Well, if you're not guilty, come out and prove yourself." No, we don't. Hang on. We don't have to. You throw allegations, and when we go to a court of law, that's when I will defend myself, or I will have people defending me. Why should come out now and go, "Actually, this is why they shouldn't be charging us"? It doesn't work like that.
Could you imagine saying to a fan of those clubs, saying, "Well, to be quite honest with you, I think you're an absolute kiddie fiddler and nonce," and then they say, "You can't say that. Where's the proof?" No. If you're not guilty, you'll give me all the non-proof, or you'll make yourself innocent. I don't have to prove anything. I've said it. Yeah, you know what I'm saying there, Andy? It's tipping everything backwards, and it's I don't have to. I've got to prove that you're a nonce, not you suddenly pipe up with all the reasons why you're not. The twisting justice.
Can you use a different analogy against me, mate, in case it gets misconstrued?
Tell you what, there should be headlines in the Mail. No. Andy Savage exposed.
No.
So then, after 13 years, he got out of court, and then he was
still fucking rambling on.
You do.
He was on his island, and he said, "Hey, Gary." No, seriously though, yeah, it doesn't matter. That was just I'd use that as something that was deliberately provocative, and that's what fans are doing. If you're innocent, you'll show you're innocent. No, we don't. If you think we're guilty, you show us the evidence to show that we're guilty. Yeah. That's how it works. Don't come here with your absolute balderdash.
Balderdash.
It's going to go. You're going to go after me now for saying about bald people.
I didn't even think about bald people. I said balderdash, not balderdash.
It's balderdash. BALDER-.
You're talking bollocks. That's what.
I think if you look it up, how to spell it.
Okay, right.
But this is the other thing, sorry, while I remember, Michael Bucknell there has also brought up a good point. If we get relegated to the National League, we'll still win the Premier League before United. That is true. But I tell you something else. There's some old, wizened fans out there that if we did get relegated, be thinking, great, people that aren't, it doesn't matter where they come from, but people who are fair weather fans will stop going. It might mean I can get a ticket to go and watch them again. And I really aren't bothered what division we're in. I can tell you that now.
Right. I'm going to set the batteries out of you in a minute. So, I was going to say, Michael's put, if we get relegated to the National League, we'll still win the Premier League before United do. So, let's spin it round. Let's devil's advocate, even though it's not going to happen. Say they relegate us 1, 2, 3 divisions. You're absolutely spot on with what you're saying there, Stan, because I'd be like, I can't wait for Erling Haaland to get 5,000 goals in the Championship, and De Bruyne
and all of them tap-ins.
It'd be weird, wouldn't it? If everybody would be laughing at us, but we're City fans, the majority of City fans, like old school and that, like ourselves. I'd be like, I fancy this again. It's that twisted part in me that thinks, yeah, take me back to the old third division again. That was probably my best ever season.
Yeah, there is a lot for that, because you weren't spending the thick end of 300-400 quid to go to an away game. It's easier to get to the Valley than it is to get to Valencia. Do you know what I mean? Tranmere away. It's going to be a lot easier to go to Tranmere than it is to go to Galatasaray or Panathinaikos or whoever it is. Honest to God, you'll save an absolute fortune in away day tickets, and you can drive home the same day. You'll be back in the pub at 8 o'clock. You need like 4 days away from home to go to an away game.
If City want 20 or 30,000 pounds to attend the game, or 50,000 pounds for this game, or 70,000 pounds for this game, what a lot of nonsense.
Yeah.
Or take your mind back to the to Main Road. The worst we got, the divisions we was falling down. What did they do?
I don't know. You've took me batteries out.
we built extra stands, didn't we?
Yeah.
Is that why we're redeveloping the North Stand now? Because City know we're going to get relegated, so that we know more fans will come. No.
I wonder what they call the Gene Kelly.
What?
Modern day stand. You remember when we had the Gene Kelly stand?
Do, mate.
I wonder what it would be called. I wonder who the sponsor for the Gene Kelly stand would be. Mind you, they built like it United, haven't they, with the hole in the roof? At least Gene Kelly never bothered with the roof. So they can't take the mickey out of us.
Martin Sport, we get done, and past it all, we go down, we come back, simple as money doesn't disappear. Listen, is there a little bit of you what thinks relegate us? What's he like?
There is. Even Caldoon, he'll spend money. He'd be sat there thinking, no, he'll need all this money now. Yeah. We'll still go up, and then we'll be back in the Premier, and that's when it'll start again.
What, the Premier Hotel? Premier Inn?
Can you imagine that? Got 36 players there. Can you put us in for 25 quid each? Can you do us a deal? I tell you what, if you did the deal, then you get the Daily Mail saying UAE in exposing or pushing British, well-known, loved British hotel firm into chaos, bullying you around, trying to save money off the bill. So
Right,
that old was it.
Here's one. You've got me mind thinking now about what would we call a modern day Gene Kelly stand. For the people in the chat, whoever comes up with the best name, you're
not going to mug them off, are you? Are you going to mug them off?
No. They can go on my website for the best name, and I'll let you two choose the best one as well. The best name for a modern day Gene Kelly stand at the Etihad. Let's come up with some answers. And the best one, I'll let you have a mug. How's that? I don't mean when I say let you have a mug, I don't mean Stan. Look at this for a link. Stan's no mug. Where can I get a sitting mug? Michael,
you what, you're right there, Big Morgan. If what was it called? Bully and the darts.
Bullseye.
Yeah. If they did Bullseye nowadays, it'd be called a MCFC podcast. The standard of prizes is about the same, isn't it? Look at Andy's face there.
Hang on. What other podcasts just randomly give things away to people?
None. But then again, they don't have the laugh like we do we?
No. We might not be the biggest.
Or the brightest.
And you can't be a bit of bully.
In fact, we're nothing.
Here's what you could have won.
Yeah.
You know something? I actually thought exactly what Andrew said there. What's standing tonight? He's talking so much sense.
I'll refer you to my learned friend Paddy. If you can ever be bothered to listen to Stan, he talks a lot of sense. So yeah.
Exactly.
I know, but it's in the middle of all the bullshit what you talk, so nobody really.
Oh no, I'm not going to deny that. The 5% nugget, it's up to you when you want to wade through the 95%.
That's
fair enough.
So yeah, let's see with some names. What would you call it? Oh, let's have a think. Blue Art says they don't like us being successful. They don't like us have a well-run club. They don't like their darling being unable to repeatedly win trophies. And that's it. Blue Art. You know, it's the cartel club. The clubs. You know what the Premier League's blue-eyed boys. And it's no coincidence, by the way, that Howard Webb has become the top bloke now for all the VAR crap because. And the bigger teams, I know we're a big team and a big club, but I mean, so the favoured teams of yesteryear, they're getting a lot of decisions, aren't they? And it's no, you know, let's go back to the derby last season. I know it's last season with the rat goal, you know, with Rashford being offside. I'm pretty sure Webb was sort of like in the process of being the top bloke at that point.
No, I think
you got to remember, Andy, what all this is about is for years and years and years, these top four clubs were honing and working away, getting all the ducks in line for with the Premier League being obviously the most financially lucrative show on the planet. And things went fine for a while. They had it all locked up. You had the same four teams in Europe every year. TV were loving it. The fact their fans were loving it. Everything was fine. Then out of nowhere, they were blindsided. And they were blindsided by a club that looked at the rules and thought, you know what, there's loads more we can do with this. Did it. And now, after 10 years of absolute constant success, getting in Europe every year, getting at 3 years, 4 years to get out of the groups, then 4 or 5 years, get into the last 16, and now getting into the last four, really. Last 3 tournaments, we've been in the last 4. Dominating the league, dominating that. And now they're getting all a little bit funny about, well, why have they got more money than everyone else? It's because they're winning everything, and they're miles ahead of everyone else. Yeah. And then it's a case of, well, that money should be coming to us. Well, no, it's not, because you decided to take dividends, or in Liverpool's case, not quite put the money back into the club. Or in Arsenal's
They
case,
decided to take upcaps.
or in Arsenal's case, decide to open up a bottle bank. None of that's our problem. That's them not doing it. Every one of them clubs has not been in the Champions League at least once in the last 3 years. We've been in 3 straight semi-finals. Why on earth would we not be top of the financial table?
Yeah, but if you listen to Gary Neville then on Sky Sports,
Yes.
And you know something, FIFA's got a great point there as well. FIFA's got a great point there, to be fair. They wouldn't have started the extension if they knew we were guilty. That's how super confident our leaders are.
Yeah.
Great.
It'd be great in a few years, though, won't it? It'd be great. I tell you what, you could call it the Gene Kelly Hotel. Because when we've got no fans and nobody's coming, you know, if you're blooded at the local amenity, you can have a walk around there and get a free bed and board for the night, and then go home Sunday on the tram.
Call the new stand FFP.
Yeah. Geordie says, "How are the lads? Big up to my oil brothers. Good evening, my friend.
Good evening, Geordie.
I don't know how long you've been listening, mate, but this could be also sort of like mirrored at Newcastle as well, because they will come after Newcastle. No two ways about it. They went after Chelsea when Chelsea started trying to, you know, get into the party. They've certainly done it with us, and now they do not like Newcastle trying to spoil the party even further, because if Newcastle are way up there, City are way up there, there's only two spots for Champions League.
Oh, so it's 5 now.
And why is there 5? Because we're so successful. Yeah, because, you know, we're so successful that it's been, you know, like you say, it's gone to 5. So it will come to Newcastle because they're in the same boat as us. They're in the fledglings, you know, stage, you know, with sort of like with the new owners and stuff like that. But yeah, it will come to Newcastle, unfortunately, and that's why we do have to stick together a little bit here now, because expose them for what they really, really are. Not Newcastle, the Premier League.
Unfortunately for Newcastle, they will get there. There's no doubt about that, but it will take that little bit longer and that little bit harder, because those rules are now nailed in. We got in there just before the drawbridge slammed shut, and we got a load of grief for that.
DC is right.
Yeah, he is right.
DC, well, let's read it for people who've been listening on audio. DC put, I agree that Khaldoon knows things. He seemed confident in his interview. He knows the charges are bogus. Absolutely spot bloody on.
At the end of that interview, he was nearly spitting fire. He was actually talking through gritted teeth. When I get deal with these charges, I'll give you an interview. He says, I'll come back and I'll give you an interview. And you'll basically saying you'll love what I have to say. Like on
a side note, I love the Chris Bailey interviewing Khaldoon. They've got that special bond, and Chris, I think he brings out one of the best in Khaldoon as well. You know, he asks the questions where Khaldoon knows the lines there. I'm not going to go over the line at this point, so I think it's great chemistry what Chris Bailey does. He's retired now, by the way, Chris from City, but they drafted him in just to do that interview.
I hope they bring him back for the after the 115 charges.
Yeah,
I mean, I tell you what though, I mean, you got to admit, there's no way that those questions can be anything other than called being soft. They are soft questions, but they're done in a way that we as fans can get maximum out of what they are allowed to tell us. Like I say, there's going to be certain things they can't tell us because it's all going through this process now. But you know, when you ask him like, "Are you confident for next season?" You know, he's not going to say like, "Well, I was listening to Stan, Andy, and Paddy, and I can assure you that you know, we won't have the new Gene Kelly stand anytime recently." He's not going to be doing that. He will give nice answers back, but that's what we want to hear. You know, I don't really particularly want to hear that Well, it's been a good season, but last December the drains went down and thing, and that cost us a little bit more than we thought. You know, sliding into the Peter Swales era of how we nearly did everything, but just couldn't quite because, you know, price of air went.
Blue Art says there is clear incompetence in the Everton 10-point penalty. Out of the £105 million limit, Everton were only 20 million over. How is that worth 10-point fine? Totally incompetent. And that's it. I feel, I know, listen, I know Everton don't give a shit about us and stuff like that, but I'm a little bit pissed off that Everton have actually got a 10-point deduction. No doubt I'm going to get shit tomorrow as well because my boss is an Evertonian.
I think on top of that, wasn't there a particular player that they wanted to sell, but then they couldn't sell him because the club that was going to buy him didn't then have the money because of COVID. So they, you know, they should have waited till the money came in the bank, to be fair to them. That's categorically untrue, and there is no evidence for that.
No. Just say it's categorical. You don't say there's no evidence. That's like just stop. I'm going to have the Savile police knocking on my door.
Well, you brought them up last week.
Right, shut up.
Stan fixed it.
Nick, swiftly moving on. Nick, did you see the Everton case? They had to review 28,000 documents for one case. Yeah, there's some. I just feel I do, and I tweeted it the other day. I do feel sorry for Everton the way that, you know, that they've been treated. Is it going to be they're going to be made a scapegoat because the Premier League know they're not going to be able to flex the muscles with us? I don't know, but to make a scapegoat, it's not just the 10-point deduction. It could ruin it. It could ruin. I know a lot of people won't be bothered, but I'm more like the principle here that Everton could get. Well, they've had the 10 points deducted. That could see them getting relegated. They've got a new stadium there. The fact is not only going to affect the fans, it's going to affect players who are on contract. So they're going to be financially punished as well as them 10 points, because they'll lose out so much of dropping out the Premier League. Players who probably have sort of like clauses in the contract that they can leave, you know, if they get relegated. I just think it's a big sham, to be honest.
I don't feel one bit sorry for them at all. They're a horrible club.
No, they're not, because my boss might be listening and he's an Evertonian. No, it's not. To be fair, I'd say the same all day long. Mine's, but remember, it isn't in a court, as it's not a criminal case. We can go high court eventually. That's years away, though. They could charge us beforehand. Remember that. Well, they've already charged us, haven't they? So I don't think they'll take it any further anyway. I really, really don't. They'd be stupid to.
Well, like that, I definitely hope that when the dust does settle and the case is closed, like I would like, and this is me just being vengeful, of course, I'd like the club to start going after people who have slagged us off, and especially in public. Neville, character, that Clown.
I'm journalist. Journalists should not get anywhere near.
Delaney, that little rat.
Did you see his mate?
Did you see that Miguel Delaney? He's a Liverpool fan. He's a Liverpool fan, yeah.
Liverpool fan. Yeah.
Did you see the other one have a complete meltdown on Twitter?
Which one?
Which one is that? Many.
There's been that many. Listen,
that is true. To be fair,
what Alex saying there, that's why there's so many meltdowns. How is it we increased turnover to 700 million, yet we're accused of this crap? Absolutely bang on, Alec, mate. And I think
Alec, we cheated to get there.
and you know something? We won, say, for argument's sake, 300 million for winning the treble. So would have still been 400 million. People don't think that. Oh, you only get a trophy. You only get a trophy for winning a competition. They do not think that as well.
I'll be honest with you, Andy. You confused us for a minute then when you said about the Irishman Miguel Delaney. There is another Irish fella who is poison. journalist, Eamon Sweeney. Have you seen much of him, Paddy? Go and have a look at what he does.
I don't know him at all. Who's he write for?
Funnily enough, the same paper as Delaney at the Independent over in Ireland.
Absolutely spot on feedback. Bald people are geniuses, like Pep and Andy. So put that in your pipe and smoke it, Stanley.
I've already been accused of smoking stuff I don't need anymore.
Yeah. Alex put, I wouldn't be arsed relegated. We will climb back. We got billions, won't that? And you know something, it was quite up that the song, you know, City's going down with $1 billion in the bank. And City fans have still not lost the humour, you know, in the obviously this some, how can I put it? No, I'll just say it. Some of the new breed, they've not got our sense of humour. Do you agree?
Absolutely.
So I wouldn't mind a season in the Championship or something.
No, I don't want. Jesus. I've spent enough time there. Give over.
Yeah, Keith Sport, dismayed by some fans talking about relegation. Where's the fighting spirit we had when the charges were first announced? Remember, that had a part to play in us winning the treble. Absolutely, Keith. Absolutely.
Do you know the sad thing is? There's not a fan in the 19 other clubs in that Premiership that wouldn't give their right hand to what we have for an owner.
Yeah. No, and absolutely right, mate. Blue Art, the Premier League are their own regulators who monitors their rules and operations. How many times have the rules been changed? Exactly. And ones that strangely aim to restrict City. Why always us? In fact, that'd be a great idea for a T-shirt, that, wouldn't it? Why always us?
Mario.
Yeah, and it's just a big nonsense. So yeah, I'm not worried in the slightest about it, if I'm being totally honest. Simon's put, the novelist James Foster Wallace said, extraordinary claims require extraordinary proof.
Correct. And that's something else that they're going to fall apart on.
Oh, Mr. Cheerful.
Who?
You. Something else we're going to fall apart on. Alex put, referees, VAR, now this crap. The good thing is though, Alec, whatever they throw at us, we've already got an answer for it. If they docked us 10 points, for instance, we'd still win the league. How much would that boil piss that we'd still win the league if they docked us, say, 10 points? Martin's put, we'd still be in the Champions League stand. Remember that? Imagine that, because we've won the Champions League. Imagine us winning the Champions League, right? Again this season, which I think we will anyway, because I called out the treble after the Burnley game anyway. That's by the by. Imagine we win it. We'd be in the Champions League next season by being in the Championship. And we win it again. Oh, how much?
You know, it might be worth doing that just to get that as another record. The only team ever to win the Champions League, not in the top flight.
Michael, bang on the money, mate. Andy, I first saw a City game live in the 1970s. They can do what they want to us. I'll still follow City through thick and thin, and that is it, mate. You know, it's and that is bang on the money, innit? It's. Yeah. We will lose some fans. However, I think we need to lose some of them fans anyway.
That's a loose term, fans. Like, if you're going to lose people, they're not fans.
Well, there's a difference between a fan and a supporter. Alec, exactly. Why build hotels and extend if we are bent? It's just a nonsense. Let's see if we can find. Is that all we've got? 18 likes. I'm not bothered. I don't care if nobody likes it, as long as you all enjoy it. That is the main thing. What's our Blue Arts Port? What are Arsenal, United, Liverpool doing to be seen as so clean by the Premier League's eye of the mudder? Bunch.
Because they are in the Premier League.
I'm just looking for. Go on, keep it ticking along while I'm finding some comments for you guys. Come on. So I'm just looking for some names for a modern day Gene Keller.
Here's the thing for you: Haaland's injured, and so is Rodri.
Why?
But yeah, Rodri was drawn from the Spain squad, and
Precaution.
Ankle's gone again.
His uncle.
I wish it was his uncle.
You can't say that. Listen, in internationals, I said it a while, but not the international we're in now. The internationals, what we had before, that was a great time for us I thought it was, so Stones could get some game time and stuff like that. I think Stones is going to be back for the Liverpool match. There's hopefully, which is a 12:30 kickoff. I'm sick of these 12:30 kickoffs.
That's because there's going to be trouble, and they have to have an early kickoff.
Trying to punish us with early kickoffs now.
Well, as long as when they put them Liverpool fans above us again, they might police it a bit better this time, so they're not throwing pots of coins on top of us.
Mm-hmm. Oh, they're all coming in now. Martin,
he doesn't see that.
Sub 2, good evening, Sub mate. Rag Suck Stadium. Cheaters Anonymous. No, mine don't win yet. I'm Marie Mara stand. Gail Platt Oil Money stand. Oh, brilliant. Good evening, Elliot. Long time no see, my friend. Long time no speak. I'll be absolutely buzzing to go down to League 2. I don't mind the fact people hate us. In fact, I love it. It means we're doing stuff well. And that is a great sum up in it, because I'll be honest, years ago, it used to bother me when people used to hate City and stuff like that. It used to really annoy me. But now, I love opposition fans hating us. And I tell you how bad it is now, the jealousy. They're actually accusing City of boring football now.
I know, yeah.
Is that what they've got to throw it? Oh, boring. Your football's boring. What, by scoring the most goals, probably conceding the least, winning trophies, but it's boring football.
Because we don't like to give opposition teams the ball. We like to keep it ourselves.
Can you imagine giving that a tiny little bit of scrutiny? Basically, you don't play the way I would like you to play. You don't support us. We're not interested. Oh. Yeah, you see.
Stan, is that your burner account?
No, it's me, ma'am. Thanks, ma'am. She's in here every week supporting me.
No, to be fair, credit where it's due, Stan. I think you spoke a lot of sense tonight.
He always does.
I'll be off next week having a lie down, don't worry.
Elliot's put, one thing I would say, I hope this does what it did to us last year, makes us win, makes us versus the world. Yeah, that's siege mentality. Big shout out to Kyle Walker being unreal this season. You know something? I put Kyle Walker down as I know it's only 12 games in a something, player of the season so far, Kyle Walker.
You're forgetting about the fellow in the middle of the park.
The only thing that's annoyed me about him this year was when he did that. Took over the duties for that free kick at the end of the game. Kyle, stay in your lane.
He does.
That's where we love you. You know, let the Fodens, the others performing acrobats and circus people do it. That's what they're there for. You're a piano shifter, mate. Don't try playing the piano.
You have some great sayings, you, Stan. You really do. Blue Arts, our owners have built a Rolls Royce of a club. Absolutely. Their darlings have popped along in their clown cars. UEFA and the Prem are trying to make it our fault. One of the corrupt organisations came unstuck, and the other fake corrupt one will follow.
Of UEFA, the old UEFA originally charged us, how many of them are in charge just now themselves? I think it's about 70 or 80% of them are now facing legal charges for corruption.
Yeah. I tell you what, I do love a good clown car. Can't beat it, can you? Especially when they honk the horn. That's when Delaney and the rest of them start speaking.
Mm-hmm. Good evening, Daniel. Hope you're okay, pal. Keysport, I'll let you read that one, Stan.
Keith Hodgkinson, the disproportionate penalty for Everton is window dressing by Premier League, and it is aimed at upsetting the City steamroller. It will be reduced significantly on appeal. I think you're out there, Keith.
You read that like points of view.
It's the opening salvo, isn't it? And they'll end up with the 4 or 6 points or something. It tends to always happen. And
that sums up what Daniel said. Everton got 10-point deduction, and we were trending, but I'm meant to believe that no one cares about City. Absolutely, Daniel. It's just it's farcical. It's an obsession, isn't it, by the opposition, fans and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Everton fans know it's bent themselves. Yeah. So let's sum it up. The show so far. Well done to City women beating the Cockneys over at the Theatre of Scaffolding, and FFP we've discussed to death. Really, everybody's discussing it to death at the minute. I don't profess to be 100% knowledgeable about it all or anything like that. In layman's terms, I'm just more than happy with the club that they're going to be exonerated from absolute.
That's the thing now, Andy. With social media, you have fans now. You can't be an ordinary fan anymore. Now you have to be an accountant, first team coach, physio, a lawyer, a barrister. You have to be all these things now to be a fan. You just can't talk about the football anymore. Oh, it's this or it's that loophole or this or that or whatever. It's nonsense, like.
No, it is, and what Simon said, I was trying to find the comment then. And what Simon said there, it isn't going to be resolved overnight. It's going to take probably years and years. But it doesn't matter how long it takes, as long as it's the correct outcome. And I've got 100% faith it will be the correct outcome.
That fitted who was the advisor to Man City? He was on Twitter there today talking about it. He reckons it'll be the end of 2024, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know the guy you mean. He's advised City before, hasn't he? On legal stuff. He is a bit of a high flyer.
Yeah. Man's put one charge is FFP, one is Mancini, one is non-compliance, etc. But due to rulebook updates, etc., made it look 115. Rivals don't even understand that. It's not. I don't even think it's Martin. I don't even think it's rivals who don't understand it. It's. I know that. I know the nuts and bolts of it, but I don't want to understand it because it's all bollocks anyway. I'm not gonna. I've not lost a minute's sleep over it. I'm not going to lose a minute's sleep over it. As I say,
are they seriously charging us for the Lentergrass, or is that a piss take?
No, what it was they sent out a rule, and in 2003 that rule was about something that was relevant. They then kept that same rule into 2006 or 2007. I'm not sure what it was. But in those later books, that rule had changed. It wasn't rule number 13 anymore. It was rule number 64. And the Premier League hadn't bothered going through it to check that the same rule that was number 13 in 2003 was the same rule in 2006. What had happened is that rule, number 13 in 2006, was about the grass. Another one was non-televised games have to kick off at 3 o'clock on a Saturday, right? So because they hadn't updated the charges and they just lazily went through it, that, you know, in 2003, Rule 13 meant this, it's still Rule 13 in 2006 would have been the same rule. It wasn't. It changed. It moved along or moved back. Am I explaining that all right?
I don't know. I'm not listening to you, mate.
No, okay, honest to God.
No, I'm reading the comments, so I can't multitask, can I?
Okay, so if you had a rule in 2012, yeah, and Rule 5 was a financial rule that we were meant to have broken, 3 or 4 years later, they still thought Rule 5 referred to that financial problem. It didn't. They'd moved the rule book around a little bit. And one of the things Rule 5 suddenly became was about talking about the length of grass. Another one in there was talking about making sure you kicked off at 3 o'clock on a Saturday. So basically what they're saying was they'd gone through the charges and then said, right, if it was rule number 13 in 2008, it would still be rule number 13 in 2015.
Yep.
And it wasn't.
Was it because our grass was too long or too short?
No, it's nothing to do with it. No, this is the thing. It's nothing to do with the grass. It's just that come 2015, the rule number that they first put in, because Rule 15 in 2009 was talking about finance, they thought that was the same number.
Now I get it now. So they changed the number, and now that number doesn't correspond. It corresponds to a different charge. Exactly.
Yeah. It should have said, like, come 2016, it should have been rule number 4 because it's moved. But because they put in, it was still rule number whatever. By the time we got to 2016, that rule number was talking about length of pitch or that. This is the whole point of it. This is the whole point of the farce. That was pointed out by City's lawyers because they went back to them and went, hang on a minute, what are you talking about? The length of grass and what you're talking about? You know, 3 o'clock kickoffs, and they've gone, oh, hang on a minute. They've moved the rule numbers. We'll have to change that. And then they amended it and sent it back. And then that's like, well, hang on a minute. If you're rushing it, if you can't get something that simple right, something so fundamentally basic right,
it's because
what's the rest of the shambles going to be looking at?
Couldn't wait to throw stuff at us. They've not done it right. It's like, oh, we've got, and they've not gone into it. One from their sub. Once again, Andy bashing our own fans. I'm not bashing our own fans, mate. The ones I'm bashing are the ones what I've seen, you know, in social media going like, I hope Jack Grealish has a cruise ship, so my boy Doku can get extra game time. They're the fans what I'm bashing, mate. Well, they're not even fans.
And I doubt if they are City fans anyway. Anyone can go on there and say.
I just want to be clear on that. It's them who I'm bashing, not your general City fans. As Martin said, Martin's right there. They can't go back to 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011 as there was no FFP then. No,
I'm just giving an example of how the rule number had changed through the different years. So
what I'm going to do, I've starred all the names for the name of the modern day Kelly. I'll go through them and I'll announce the winner next Sunday. To do there's some good in there.
Yeah, I tell you what, put it on the thing, Joe, and they can have a vote. Put it on the on the page that we've got.
But some of them might not be on Facebook, mate.
Well, it doesn't matter, does it? You can put their name in there, and if the people speak, then the one.
Oh God!
What was wrong with that?
I just my finger slipped, mate. Sorry. So yeah, we'll wrap it up there. Listen, thanks for everybody who's as always who's commented it in the chat, because it is always appreciated, because it's, you know, your channel, in it. We just talk rubbish, don't you, Stan?
We just abuse it.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll wrap up there. So we'll have some proper football to talk about next Sunday, when hopefully we beat the Scousers 3-0.
Comprehensively.
Yeah. So and you know, on a side note, I seen it, and I thought it was unfair what someone said on Twitter as well, that Everton are the only team to you know, lose points on an international break. It's not funny. Listen, guys, thank you for joining us always. Anne-Marie will be back next week.
When she gets released.
Hey, that could be 116 charges, Anne-Marie, for streaking. Yeah. For streaking at Old Trafford today. Thank you very much. All right, so I was just reading a comment. Yeah, thanks everybody. Hope you've enjoyed the show, and we will see you again. When will you see him again, Stan?
Who knows?
Do it all again next week. See you later, guys. Bye-bye now.
Bye.